Mira arrived at the tall silver building before sunrise, holding her small daughter's hand tightly. The streets were still quiet. Only the soft humming of hovercars passed above them. Mira tried to walk fast, hoping no one would notice Lena. With her, she whispered to her daughter, "Stay close to me, okay? No noise." Lena nodded slowly, her big tired eyes blinking up at her mother. Myra worked in one of the largest human alien companies in the city. She was known for being quiet, hardworking, and always on time, but today she was nervous. Her heart beat harder with every step she took inside the building. She prayed that the alien supervisor Draxil would not see her child. The lobby was bright with white lights and hologram signs floating in the air. Alien workers with long necks, blue skin, or glowing eyes walked around carrying tablets. A few humans were there too, rushing to start their shift. Nobody expected a problem this early in the morning. Mira kept her head down as she entered the main hall. Lena held her mother's old scarf, almost dragging it behind her. She looked sleepy and a little scared. Mira wished she had anyone to leave her daughter with, but she had no one. Her husband had left years ago. Her parents lived far away on another planet, and she could not afford a babysitter anymore. She reached her station and quickly sat down. She gave Lena her small drawing pad, whispering, "Sit here. Just for today. Please don't move." Lena nodded. But luck was not on Mira's side today. Draxil, the tall, four-eyed alien supervisor, walked into the workspace with his usual angry face. His thick armor plates clinked as he moved. Workers froze when they saw him. Everyone knew he loved rules more than people. And then he saw her. He stopped immediately, his voice loud and sharp. "Why is there a child in my workspace?" Mira stood quickly. Her voice shook. "Sir, please. I had no choice today." "She will stay quiet, I promise. Just for today." Draxil's four eyes narrowed. "Company rules are clear. No children inside work areas. They bring distraction. They bring risk." "She won't disturb anyone," Mira whispered. "I only need a few days to arrange something. Please." Workers around them looked away, afraid to get involved. They respected Mira, but no one wanted to fight with Draxil. He was known for firing people without warning. Lena stepped behind her mother, holding her hand. Draxil raised his voice even more. "This is not a playground. You have broken the rules. You are done here." Mira felt something inside her break. Her legs turned. Weak, she shook her head, tears forming. "Please, sir. Please don't do this. I need this job. We need food, rent, everything. I always work hard. I never complain." Draxil lifted his tablet. "Security will remove you. Pack your things." Mira dropped to her knees without even realizing it. Lena hugged her from behind, confused and scared. Mira begged again, her voice almost lost. "Just give me one more chance. One more day. Please, I will fix everything." But Draxil did not care. To him, rules were more important than humans, more important than kindness, more important than survival. "You are fired," he said coldly. Those three words echoed through the hall. Mira stood slowly, her hands shaking. She picked up her small bag and helped Lena put on her tiny coat. Her daughter looked up with watery eyes. "Mama, are we in trouble?" Mira forced a smile, even though her heart felt heavy. "No, sweetie. We just have to go home." They walked through the hall. Workers lowered their heads, some feeling ashamed they had not helped. Mira kept walking, even though each step felt painful. When she pushed open the building's big glass doors, cold wind hit her face. She held Lena close and walked toward the bus stop with slow steps. She did not know how they would survive. Rent was due in 3 days. The fridge was almost empty. And now she had no job. Just as she stepped off the company stairs, a black hovercar landed behind her. The air shook. People turned to look. A tall figure stepped out of the car. He was dressed in a dark official coat, his presence powerful. His eyes sharp. The new CEO. He watched Mira walking away with her daughter, and for some reason, he did not look away. He looked interested. He looked angry. He looked like he had questions. And this moment would change everything. The black hover car remained parked outside the company building long after Mira disappeared around the corner. With her daughter, the new CEO, Lord Kaler, stood silently, watching the direction she had gone. His sharp golden eyes were not like other aliens. They carried something deeper: memory, judgment, and a strange sense of recognition. He finally turned toward the entrance and walked inside. Workers quickly moved out of his way. Everyone had heard rumors about him. A high-ranking noble from an old alien house. Brilliant in strategy, strict about justice, respected by leaders across planets. But no one had expected him to arrive today, without warning, without guards, without any grand announcement. Inside the main hall, the air felt heavy. Workers whispered among themselves. Something strange had happened. Kaler could feel it. His senses were trained to read fear, tension, guilt. And right now, the room was full of all three. Draxel stood proudly near the center, pretending confidence. He puffed out his armored chest and bowed with exaggerated respect when Kaler approached. "My Lord Kaler," Draxel said loudly, trying to impress everyone. "We welcome you. I have made sure everything runs under strict rules. No mistakes." Keller's gaze was calm, unreadable. "Is that so?" he asked. "Yes, my lord. I do not tolerate weakness." Keller's eyes flickered for half a second, remembering the image of a small child hiding behind her mother's leg outside. His voice became colder. "What was the disturbance I saw at the entrance?" Draxel hesitated. His confidence cracked for a moment. A human woman broke the rules. She brought a child. I removed her from the company to protect productivity. Some workers flinched at his tone. Kaler noticed. "And the woman?" Kaler asked. She seemed distressed. Draxel straightened his back, speaking with pride. "Humans become emotional easily, not my concern." Keller's eyes narrowed slightly. "Show me the security footage." Draxel froze. "My lord, now?" "I can explain," I said. Kaler repeated slowly. "Show me the footage." Draxel obeyed. His fingers shook slightly as he opened his tablet and projected the recordings in midair. Kaler watched every moment, how Mira begged softly, how Lena clung to her mother, how Draxel shouted, how no one helped. His jaw tightened. Each second of the video made something burn inside him. When the footage ended, Kaler asked one simple question. She broke no safety protocol. She harmed no one. "Why did you fire her?" Draxel swallowed. "Because rules, my lord. Rules." Kaler lowered the hologram, his voice sharp like a blade. "Rules are meant to protect workers, not destroy them." A ripple of shock passed through the room. No alien noble had ever spoken like this in front of workers. Kaler walked through the hall slowly, studying people's faces. Some looked down with shame. Some looked relieved. And some looked angry at Draxel, but had never dared to speak. He turned to the nearest worker, a human man who appeared nervous. "What is your name?" "Liam, sir." "You witnessed the situation, did you not?" Kaler asked. Liam looked at Draxel, then at Kaler. His voice shook. "Sir, she was the hardest worker we had. She never asked for anything. She stayed late every day. We respect her. She only brought her child because she had no one else." Kaler nodded. "And Draxel fired her?" "Yes, sir, without warning." Kaler turned away, his voice now colder than the winter air outside. "This building smells of fear. That means something has been wrong for a long time." Draxel stepped forward quickly. "My lord, you must understand humans are fragile, and they slow down our—" Kaler raised a hand, signaling silence. The entire hall immediately went quiet. He looked at the large company emblem on the wall and spoke clearly, so every worker could hear. From today, this company belongs to me. And under my leadership, everyone alien or human will be treated with dignity. The workers exchanged stunned looks. Some even smiled for the first time in months. Kayla continued, I will review every decision made here. Starting with the woman who was just fired. Draxel's eyes widened. My lord, why waste time on her? Kaler slowly turned to him, his gaze sharp enough to cut through steel. Because justice is not a waste of time. Without another word, Kaler ordered his assistant, prepare a detailed report on her. I want to know everything, her job history, her skills, her record. Yes, my lord, the assistant replied. Kaler stepped toward the exit again. The workers watched him with new respect, new hope. Before leaving, Kaler paused and said quietly, and find her home address. Everyone in the hall froze. Why did the new boss want to find her? What did he plan to do? And why did his voice sound personal, not just official? The story of Mira and her daughter was far from over. In fact, it had just begun. The bus ride home felt longer than usual. Mira sat by the window, holding Lena close. The child rested her head on her mother's shoulder, too tired to speak. Every time the bus hit a bump, Mira felt her heart tighten. She kept replaying the moment Draxel shouted at her, the humiliation, the helplessness, the cold stares. It all burned like fire inside her. When the bus reached their stop, Mira stepped out carefully, holding Lena with one arm and her old bag with the other. Their apartment building stood tall and worn, lights flickering on each floor. The wind was cold that morning, blowing through the open windows and broken railings. Lena shivered. Inside their small room, everything was quiet. Too quiet. Myra switched on the heater, but it made a weak buzzing sound and then died completely. She tapped it twice. Nothing. She tried again. Nothing. Lena rubbed her hands together and whispered, Mama. It's cold. Myra forced a smile. I know, sweetie. I'll fix it soon. But deep inside, she had no idea how. Repairs cost money. Money she no longer had. She opened the fridge. A small bag of rice, half a bottle of milk, one apple. Nothing more. Mira looked at the empty shelves and felt a sting of shame. She tried not to cry. She had been strong for so long, too long. She warmed the milk carefully and handed it to Lena. The little girl drank slowly, trying to save every drop. Mira watched her daughter and felt guilt slice through her heart like a knife. Lena finished the milk and asked softly, Mama, will you go back to work? Mira's eyes fell to the floor. I don't know yet. But you always go. Lena said innocently, you always come home tired. You always say you work hard. Mira knelt down, hugging her daughter tightly. I'm sorry. I tried. Lena hugged her back without understanding everything, but knowing her mother needed comfort. Hours passed. Mira filled out job applications on her old tablet. Most jobs paid too little. Some required long hours far across the city. Others needed certifications she didn't have. The ones she could do didn't allow children anywhere near the building. She looked at the rent notice glowing red on her wall screen. Pay within 3 days or vacate. Her hands shook again. Then evening came, and with it, the cold. Without a heater, the room felt like ice. Mira wrapped Lena in 2 blankets and held her close. They sat on the floor, trying to stay warm. Lena coughed suddenly, a small but sharp sound. Mira froze. Lena coughed again, this time harder. Mira panicked. Are you okay? Does your chest hurt? Lena shook her head but coughed once more. Myra grabbed a glass of warm water and rubbed her back. The cough settled, but the fear stayed. A simple cold could become something dangerous in a freezing room. Mira felt the world closing in on her. I should have protected you better, she whispered to her daughter. As she sat there, Holding Lena tightly, she had no idea that someone else was thinking about them too, someone far removed from their world of struggle. Lord Kaler. He sat in his large office high above the city, hologram screens floating around him. On one screen, Myra's file glowed softly. He studied it carefully, her work record, performance reports, years of loyalty, 0 complaints. Everything in her file spoke of strength, effort, and quiet sacrifice. But something bothered him. Something. Small, yet sharp dot in the footage he watched earlier. The child Lena had looked strangely familiar. Her eyes, her expression. Something about her reminded him of someone from his own past. Kaler leaned back in his chair, trying to push the thought away. Memories of his childhood flashed in fragments, cold halls, strict rules, a lonely room, and one human caretaker who used to bring him warmth and comfort when no one else did. She was the only person who treated him like a child, not like a future leader. Myra's eyes were the same kind eyes that caretaker had. Kaler exhaled slowly. He snapped his fingers, and his assistant came running. "Prepare a follow-up report," Kaler ordered. "I want details about her life outside work. Her living conditions, her stability." The assistant nodded. "Yes, my lord." Kaler turned to the window, watching the cold city lights. He remembered the way Myra held her daughter with quiet strength. Something inside him stirred again, something unfamiliar yet powerful. He whispered to himself, "No one should suffer because of injustice." Then he added, even quieter, "especially not a child." Meanwhile, back in the small apartment, Lena had fallen asleep on her mother's lap. Myra sat in the dark, hugging her daughter and trying not to break. She didn't know that help was already on the way. She didn't know that someone powerful had taken an interest in her life, her pain, her silent strength. The night grew colder, but somewhere in the sky, hope had already begun moving toward her. Lord Kaler did not sleep that night. He sat alone in his large office, the city lights glowing outside like tiny stars. His desk was filled with hologram screens, each one showing reports about Myra. But the numbers and words on the screens were not what troubled him. It was the look on Myra's face when she walked out of the building. A quiet pain, a silent strength, a mother trying to survive. And then there was Lena, the little girl clinging to her mother. Her eyes had the same softness Kaler remembered from long ago, from the only human who ever showed him kindness during his childhood. Kaler inhaled deeply and pressed a small silver button. A screen opened, showing his trusted assistant Aaron, waiting for orders. "Report," Kaler said. Aaron nodded. "My lord, we completed the background check." "It is unexpected." Kaler raised a brow. "Explain." Aaron pulled up a hologram. "Myra has been with this company for 5 years. In all that time, she has never taken a sick day. She solved 3 major system failures but never took credit. She trained new workers, covered extra shifts, and stayed late almost every week." Kaler frowned. "Why did no one tell me this before? Why is her file so empty of praise?" Aaron hesitated. "Because Draxel erased her contributions, my lord. He updated records to show himself as the one who fixed problems." Keller's expression darkened. His voice dropped into a cold tone. "He stole her achievements." "Yes, my lord." Kaler stood up slowly. His tall figure cast a sharp shadow across the room. "Continue." Aaron tapped the screen. A new report appeared. Myra became a single mother 3 years ago. Her husband left suddenly. No support, no contact. She has been raising her daughter alone since then. Keller's jaw clenched. He remembered something. He too was raised alone, under strict alien rules. Never allowed to show weakness, never allowed to feel warmth. Only one human caretaker had shown him affection. Kaler had lost her suddenly, without explanation. He had searched for her for years, but never found her. He shook off the memory. "What about her financial status?" Kaler asked. Aaron's eyes lowered. Bad, my lord, very bad. She is behind on rent. Electricity only half paid. Heating unit broken. She earns less than every other worker in her department, because Draxel lowered her bonuses every year. Keller's hands curled into fists. Because she is human? Because she is quiet, my lord, and easy to control. Kaler felt anger rising inside him, deeper than he expected. He was used to injustice, corruption, and cruel leaders. But this felt personal. Too personal. Arin opened one final file. And my lord, there is something else. Kaler looked at him sharply. Speak. Aaron displayed a picture, Mira holding Lena on her first day of school. Kaler stared at the image. Lena's small smile. Mira's hand gently fixing her. Daughter's hair. Something in Keller's chest tightened painfully. Aaron said quietly, her daughter. She reminds you of someone, doesn't she? Kaler looked away. That is not your concern. Aaron bowed quickly. Apologies, my lord. Kaler turned toward the window. The city below was filled with noise, lights, and endless people rushing through life. But somewhere down there, one small child was sleeping in a freezing room, and her mother was fighting to keep her safe. He whispered softly, no child should live like that. Aaron nodded. What are your orders, my lord? Kaler did not answer immediately. He walked to his desk and picked up a small silver pendant, a rare object from his childhood. He turned it over in his hand slowly. Finally, he spoke. Tomorrow. I will visit her home myself. Aaron blinked in surprise. My lord, that is unusual. CEOs do not. I am not asking for permission. Kaler interrupted. His voice was calm but firm. Yes, my lord. Kaler stepped closer to the window again, watching the horizon turn deep blue as dawn approached. Before I go, he added, I want something else. Aaron waited. I want a full investigation on Draxel, every decision he made, every worker he mistreated, every file he changed. Aaron bowed. It will be done. Kaler spoke again, softer now. And prepare a care package. Food, warm clothing, and a heater. Aaron's eyes widened. For Mira and her child? For who else? Kaler replied. Aaron nodded. I will prepare everything. Kaler closed his eyes for a moment. Tomorrow, injustice ends. Meanwhile, across the city, Mira was awake in the darkness. She sat beside her daughter, who slept with cold fingers curled into her mother's coat. Mira rubbed Lena's hands gently, hoping warmth would return. She whispered to the sleeping child, I will fix this. Somehow. But she didn't know that someone powerful was already on his way. Someone who believed in justice. Someone who remembered kindness. Someone who had seen her pain, and someone who would not let her suffer any longer. Morning light poured into the company lobby like a bright spotlight, exposing every nervous face inside. The workers gathered quietly, feeling a strange tension floating in the air. Something big was about to happen, everyone sensed it. Whispers moved from one desk to another like small waves. Did you hear? The CEO arrived before sunrise. I think he's angry. About the woman, the one with the child. Everyone's eyes kept looking toward the main door. And then Lord Kaler stepped inside. He moved with calm power, his long coat flowing behind him. His golden eyes scanned the hall, reading every expression, every fear, every lie. Workers stood straighter, not daring to breathe too loudly. Behind him walked Aaron, holding a tablet filled with reports. His face was serious. Draxel, the supervisor, hurried forward, forcing an eager smile. My Lord Kaler. He shouted proudly, Welcome, everyone is ready for your speech. I have organized the workers for you. Kaler did not even look at him. Gather everyone, he commanded. Draxel blinked. Ah, yes, my lord. Workers rushed and formed rows, standing shoulder to shoulder. Humans and aliens together waited in silence. The sound of a single dropped pen echoed like a thundercl, epi.klar, stepped into the center of the hall. He took a deep breath. Then he spoke. Yesterday, he began, I arrived at this building and saw something that should never happen. Every worker listened carefully. I saw a woman holding her small child, walking away in pain. And when I entered this building, I learned why. Draxel swallowed nervously. Sweat formed under his armor plates. Kale Air continued. One of our most hardworking employees, Mira, was fired without mercy, without hearing her side, without support. A quiet gasp ran through the workers. Kaler lifted his hand, and Aaron projected a large hologram into the air. It was the recording of Myra being fired. The entire hall froze. Everyone saw it again, Myra begging with shaking hands, Lena hiding behind her, Draxel shouting, workers silent in fear. The crowd felt shame wash over them. Kaler watched their expressions carefully. When the footage ended, he turned slowly toward Draxel. Explain, Kaler ordered. Draxel's mouth opened and closed like he was drowning. My lord, I was only applying the rules. Children are not allowed. Did she harm anyone? Kaler asked. No. Did she refuse to work? No. Did she break equipment, ignore orders, fail tasks? No, my lord. Kaler stepped closer, voice dropping into a deeper tone. Then why did you fire a single mother who had no choice, no support, and no help? Draxel stuttered. She made the workplace look unprofessional. Humans become emotional. Keller's voice sliced through the room like cold steel. Kindness is not unprofessional, cruelty is. The workers held their breath. Kaler continued. I have reviewed every record. Mira fixed problems you claimed. Credit for, she stayed late to help others. She worked harder than anyone here. Some workers nodded slowly, finally feeling safe enough to agree. Kaler turned to the crowd. Did any of you speak for her that day? Silence. Some looked down. Some looked away. Some looked guilty. Kaler nodded. Fear is a powerful chain, but today I am breaking that chain. He pointed to Draxel. You are removed from duty. Effective immediately, Draxel's armor rattled. My lord, no. I have served this company for, you have served yourself, Kaler said coldly. Not the workers, not justice, not the truth. Two guards stepped forward. Draxel backed away, shaking. This is a mistake, she was just a human. Everyone gasped. Keller's eyes glowed with silent fury. Every worker here matters, human or alien, and I will not tolerate discrimination under my rule. The guards took Draxel away. His protests faded down the hallway. Kaler turned back to the crowd. Starting today, this company will change. We will build a safe place for everyone. A place where workers are respected. A place where justice exists. The workers exchanged hopeful looks. Kaler looked at Aaron. Bring the final report. Aaron opened the tablet and said loudly, My lord has decided to personally meet the woman who was fired. He will visit her home to correct the injustice himself. The hall exploded into whispers. Visit her home? A CEO? An alien noble? No one had ever heard of such a thing. Kaler raised his hand, silencing the room. I do not ignore suffering. He said, Not anymore. He turned and walked toward the exit. The workers stared in awe as he left. They had never seen power used this way. They had never seen justice delivered so boldly. And deep inside, each of them felt something rise hope. Outside, Kaler stepped into his hover car. Take me to her address, he ordered quietly. Aaron nodded. Yes, my lord. As the hover car lifted into the air, Kaler stared at the city below. Mira, he whispered, your struggle ends today. Asterisk, by the time Mira woke up the next morning, the room felt even colder than the night before. Frost touched the edges of the cracked window. She wrapped Lena in a blanket and kissed her forehead. "Mama, is it morning already?" Lena whispered, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "Yes, sweetie," Myra said softly. "I'll warm some water. We'll be okay." But truthfully, Mira didn't know how they would be okay. The heater was broken. The food was almost gone. And she had no job left to save them. She tried to smile for Lena, but her eyes carried a heavy sadness. She wondered, should I go back to the company and beg for another chance? But then she remembered the harshness in Draxel's voice and felt small again. No, they wouldn't take her back. She picked up her tablet to check jobs again, even though she knew there weren't many options. Lena sat quietly drawing the small picture of a sun and two stick figures, one taller, one smaller, holding hands. Mira looked at the drawing and swallowed hard. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Suddenly, knock, knock, knock. The sound was strong, echoing through the thin apartment walls. Mira froze. Visitors were rare in their life. No one came here. No one even knew their door. She looked at Lena, then slowly stood. Her heart beat faster with every step toward the door. The knocking came again, firm, commanding. "Mama." "Who is it?" Lena whispered. "I don't know." Mira opened the door only a few inches, and she froze completely, standing. Outside, dressed in a long dark coat, was Lord Kaler himself. The CEO, the alien noble. The man she had never met properly, but who had watched her leave the building yesterday. Behind him stood Aaron, holding a silver case. Two guards waited at a respectful distance. Myra's mouth fell open. "Sir, why are you here?" Kaler didn't step inside. He bowed his head slightly, a gesture no alien noble ever offered to a worker. "Myra," he said softly, "may I come in?" Her voice shook. "My home is not clean, not good enough." Kaler looked straight into her eyes. "Your home is where your child is. That makes it enough." Mira's hands trembled as she opened the door wider. Kaler entered the small apartment. It was a completely different world from his polished palace-like office. The walls had cracks. The room felt cold. The fridge light flickered weakly. And in the corner, wrapped in blankets, sat Lena. Keller's gaze softened. He knelt down slowly, making sure not to frighten her. "You must be Lena," he said gently. Lena peeked out, shy but curious. "Hi." Kaler smiled, an expression rare for someone of his rank. "May I shake your hand?" Lena extended her tiny hand. Kaler held it carefully, like touching something precious. Mira felt tears gather in her eyes. No one had ever shown this kind of respect, not to her, and definitely not to her daughter. Kaler stood and turned to Myra. "You should not be living in this cold," he said firmly. "This is unsafe for a child." I'm trying my best," Myra whispered. Shame washed over her face. "I lost my job yesterday. I can't fix the heater. I don't have enough money left." Keller's expression grew dark, not at her, but at the injustice. Aaron stepped forward and opened the silver case. Inside were food packets, a portable heating unit, warm clothes for Lena, medicine, fresh blankets, and a small emergency credit card. Mira gasped, stepping back. No, I can't take this. It's too much." "I don't deserve," Kaler interrupted softly. "You deserve better than what you were given." He walked closer to her. "I watched the recordings. I read your files. You have worked harder than most people I have ever met. You were treated unfairly." Mira covered her mouth with her hand as tears fell silently. Kaler continued, "You are not the problem. The system failed you." Mira looked at him with disbelief. Why would you help me?" Keller's golden eyes softened in a way no one had seen before. "Because someone once helped me when I was small. A human. She saved me from becoming cold inside." He paused, voice lowering. "You remind me of her." Mira wiped her tears, but they kept coming. She had never heard words like this. Kaler looked around the room again. Mira, you are strong, but strength should not mean suffering alone. He gently took her hand. I came here to correct the wrong done to you. Mira stared at him, confused. Correct? How? Keller's voice became firm. By giving you your job back. Her breath caught in her chest. But not the old job, Kaler added. Something better, Myra blinked, shocked. Better? Kaler nodded. A leadership position. A salary that allows you to live with comfort. Childcare support included. No more fear. No more begging for chances. Mira burst into tears. She tried to speak, but no words came out. Lena hugged her mother's leg, smiling. Mama, we can be warm now? Kaler smiled down at her. Yes, little one. You will never be cold again. Mira looked at Kaler, really looked at him. For the first time in years, she felt something she thought she had lost forever. Hope. And outside the apartment, the cold morning air slowly warmed. As if the universe itself had taken a breath. Mira stood frozen in the middle of her small apartment, the soft hum of the portable heater warming the air around her. She still couldn't believe what she had just heard. It felt unreal, like a dream too kind to be true. A leadership position? She whispered. Lord Kaler nodded gently. Yes, Mira, you deserve stability. You deserve dignity. And your daughter deserves a safe life. Mira covered her face with her hands. Tears rushed down her cheeks in streams she couldn't stop. For years, she carried the world silently on her shoulders, but no one ever saw it. No one ever cared. No one ever helped. Until today. Kaler stepped closer, speaking softly. You carried burdens no one noticed. Now let me carry some of them with you. Her hands dropped slowly. Her voice shook. I don't know what to say. I never expected something like this. You don't need to say anything, Kaler replied. Just accept what you have earned. Lena tugged on Keller's coat, her tiny face curious. Are you Mama's new boss? Kaler smiled, kneeling down again. Yes, and I want to make sure she is never treated badly again. Lena's eyes sparkled. Do you have snacks? Aaron quickly opened the silver case again. Yes, little one, many snacks. Lena cheered quietly, taking a small packet of star-shaped alien candies. Mira let out a shaky laugh through her tears. It had been so long since she had laughed, she almost forgot how it felt. Kaler looked around the cramped apartment once more. You won't stay here much longer. I will send my team tomorrow to help you move to a better place. Mira's eyes widened. A better place? My lord. This is too much. Kaler lifted a hand gently, not to silence her, but to soothe her. You worked with loyalty for 5 years. You raised a child alone. You survived without complaining. Kindness is the least I can offer. Mira swallowed hard. Thank you, sir, truly. Kaler nodded, but his eyes softened even more. Also, you may call me Kaler. I am not your master. I am simply a person who recognizes your worth. Mira felt her face warm. Number 1 in authority had ever spoken to her like that. The next day, a new beginning word spread through the company faster than light. The CEO visited Mira's home. He gave her a higher position. He punished Draxo. He actually cares. By the time Keller's hover car arrived at the building with Myra and Lena inside, the entire staff had already gathered in the lobby. Not forced, not ordered. They came because they wanted to. Humans and aliens stood together in a single line, their expressions full of respect. Some clapped softly. Some smiled warmly. Some bowed their heads. Mira didn't expect any of this. Her chest tightened with emotion as she stepped out holding Lena in her arms. Liam, one of her co-workers, stepped forward first. Welcome back, Mira. We missed you. A blue-skinned alien beside him nodded. You are one of the best among us. Another human added, This place wasn't the same without you. Mira almost cried again, but she stayed strong, remembering. Lena watching her. Kaler stepped in front of the workers and raised his hand for silence. I want everyone to know, he said loudly, that Mira is not returning as a worker, but as your new team leader. Gasps filled the hall. Mira's heart leaped. Kaler continued. She earned this. Her record, her skills, her courage, everything proves she is more than qualified. He turned toward Mira, offering her a small silver badge. The badge shimmered with her name and the symbol of her new position. Her hands trembled as she accepted. Myra, Kaler said, you lead with kindness. That is the strongest leadership of all. The workers clapped loudly, now genuine applause, not forced. Lena hid her face in her mother's neck, giggling from the noise. Mira wiped her eyes once more. Thank you, all of you. I will do my best. Kaler nodded proudly. A quiet moment afterward, after the meeting, Kaler walked Mira and Lena to her new office. It was clean, warm, and filled with light. A small seat by the window had been added for Lena, with a drawing pad and toys. Lena sat happily, swinging her legs. Mira looked around in disbelief. This is beautiful. I never imagined I would sit in a place like this. Kaler stood beside her, hands behind his back. You deserve to. And remember, help is not a weakness. Accepting kindness is not a burden. Mira turned toward him slowly. Why did you really do all this? Kaler looked at Lena for a long moment before speaking. Because when I was a child, someone protected me. Someone human. Someone like you. Mira's breath caught. Kaler continued softly. I swore that if I ever had the power, I would return that kindness to someone who needed it. He looked into Mira's eyes. Today, you were that someone. Mira felt her heart warm, not just from gratitude, something deeper. Something growing silently between them. Lena suddenly ran up and handed Kaler a small drawing. 3 stick figures, Mira, Lena, and Kaler standing under a bright sun. For you, she said shyly. Kaler smiled, holding the drawing like a treasure. Thank you, Lena. I will keep it forever. Mira watched the moment and felt something she had lost long ago, hope, comfort, and the beginning of a new life. And as the sun rose outside the office window, it felt like a sign. A new chapter had begun. Not just for Mira, not just for Lena, but for Kaler too. The story of suffering had ended. The story of honor had begun.